Hello and welcome to another edition of the program Total Woman on AD4 TV Radio. My name is Mute Olori. In a country with abundant opportunities also lies a huge problem of unemployment. Once upon a time, there were more jobs than graduates in Nigeria. But these days, graduates roam the streets looking for jobs that are never found. But on the brighter side, entrepreneurs are changing the narrative, not only by creating jobs for themselves, but creating jobs for others. Some are born entrepreneurs, some become entrepreneurs due to circumstances. But whichever way, an entrepreneur is an individual who creates a new business, bearing most of the risk and enjoying most of the rewards. So today in Nigeria, we have entrepreneurs who are not just creating businesses and enjoying the rewards alone. Some have supported and are still supporting others to become successful entrepreneurs. So on the program today, we will be discussing, on the show Total Woman today, we will be looking at supporting young entrepreneurs. And my guest is a successful entrepreneur. She is the founder of Dream Alive Africa, an NGO for supporting children and women to realize their dreams through life and skills empowerment programs, self-concept and leadership training. She's also the National Secretary of the Association of Women in Micro, Medium and Small Enterprises, an organization that supports women entrepreneurs to grow their business. Please join me to welcome Ms. Biodu Buki Ogunipe. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being on the show.
All right, so tell us, how did you become an entrepreneur? Because we hear so many stories. Oh, I didn't have a job, and because I was looking for a job, I was looking for this, I didn't, and I bumped into this, and I became an entrepreneur. Is that your story?
It's something, not really, but something similar, because actually I grew up in an environment where business thrived. My paternal grandmother was a businesswoman. She was even coming from the west to the north to trade, Kola North then. Then I grew, my mom too was in business, so I was privileged from secondary school to be part of her business and major part of her business. So when I even graduated, she wanted me to be part of the business, and I didn't want that. I wanted to work in the airline. I wanted to be an air hostess and all that. So I said, no, let me go the other way of working. So I started working. But I noticed at every point in time, every opportunity I have to manage part of the, where I was working, I took ownership of it, and it was mine. And my colleague would tell me, is it your father's business? I said, as at this moment, it's my father's business. So I ran it as if I was running my own business. And of course, by the way, I had this business. I was fashion. I love fashion. So I was doing fashion. I'll do fashion. I'll do buying and selling. I was just doing that part of, alongside with the work I was doing. I was in telecom. I was in NGO. So it was after the NGO experience that, you know, NGO, they have to renew your contract and all that. And they said, okay, the NGO does not have enough money, so they can't continue with all of us and all that. I started to think about it. If I'd built the business, being the business like my mom said, I would have gone far, because she is 70-something. She's still doing business. So I thought of it. I said, okay, let me pack this job issue and face the business. And that was how I came into it. And coupled with the fact that there was a time I went to, there's a shop, I don't want to advertise the shop. It's a big supermarket owned by a Nigerian. And I wanted to sell some things to him. So I saw, he wrote something on his, before you enter his office, there's something he wrote there, that people can spend 60 years to work for others, but they can't spend 3 years to build their business. And that's really tough, because I even told him, you've just touched something inside of me that was going to make me push further. And that's why I made up my mind, no looking for a job, nothing like that.
Wow, wow, wow. That's an amazing story. That's an amazing story. And I'm sure that one woman there listening to you, or someone watching, has been inspired by the fact that you said, if I put in this energy into my business, I would have been somewhere. Now, it's a lot of mistakes a lot of people make. They feel that when they're working in an organization, they cannot grow their business. But we'll come to that.
Okay.
But why are you focusing on women?
How do I put it? Okay, as far back as I can remember, far back as primary school, I said, I have this belief that men oppress women. I don't know where I got that from. Maybe because I had more aunties that grew up with us. So there was a time my auntie took me to the market. She wanted to buy me a t-shirt. So I now said I was going to follow her. She said, okay, no problem. We got to the market. So there was this t-shirt, black t-shirt, I will not forget it, with a white inscription there. Anything a man can do, a woman can do better. I was in primary school, so I picked it. And it was a big t-shirt. My auntie was like, this t-shirt is too big. It's not yours. I said, this is what I want. You said I should come to the market with you. So we drag and drag. Eventually, she bought it for me. So it was a big t-shirt. I was so proud of t-shirt I was wearing everywhere. And that actually changed something inside of me. And I grew up believing that we can just be successful, whether you're a woman or a man. And growing up, of course, our society, the way it was, not now. So I was in school, and I was looking at, I schooled in the north anyway. So I was in the Polytechnic, I was looking at the system. I'll sit down, I'll discuss with my male friend that was supportive of women. So I'll tell him, I'm like, look, we can actually write to this place, we do this, a program, and all that. I was in school and all that, very young, but I just started writing. So I was privileged to write for Democrat then, newspaper then. Then I think once for New Nigeria, because I had to push some articles to be pushed that women can be a woman. So when I see women go to UN and all that, I'm not surprised. I'm like very happy, impressed. And my friend would become like, Piodu, you remember those things you used to write in school? I said, yes, I'm not surprised because it was like a prayer. It was like something that could happen. So I'm not really surprised. So from there, I said, okay, more women need to be supported. And that's why I'll just talk about briefly about the former president's wife. She's late, but honestly, she was my role model in a way. Because she supported women. She brought out women from
Maybe
the
I
grassroots.
could guess. That's Miriam Babangida?
Exactly.
I can't imagine because your complexion, there's so many things that...
I love her. And, as far back as well, I was young then, but I loved and I was always following. Every year, I would always update and remember her and all that because she really brought it to the forefront because she had a platform to do that and it was marvelous. And today, a lot of women can come out and say, a lot of women want to take ownership of their business, what they are doing, workplaces and all that, and it's amazing. And that's why I want to focus on those who have given up because it's really difficult to be in an environment where women are not allowed to strive. People tell you, your family tell you you're a woman, stay there and all that. You just go, graduate, go to the kitchen and cook. So I've met a lot of women like that growing up. So I made up my mind that, look, I'm going to change that. And for the children, where the issue of the children came, when I was in school, I was doing business in school. I could wear, so I love fashion, like I said, I even want to use fashion in school. I'll wear something and someone will say, this is beautiful. It has turned to business. I'll wear a wristwatch. And I'm not joking, I'll sell it, I'll make it look beautiful. There's this short, funny story. I went to see my grandma. She's late, so I was in school then. She now said, she said, you should be wearing native and all that. And I didn't like native, Iro and Buba. I'm from the West. So she now brought out gele. They were beautiful. So she just where you can use it on it. So, an entrepreneur, let me just put it this way, they are creative. And people who think very far. Anything turns to business. They are incubators and all that. So I noticed I had that. So when she told me that I should not say, I didn't reject. I said, oh, Granny, bring it now. No, Mama, bring it, no problem. She gave them to me. When I got to Kaduna, before we resumed, I turned them to monkey jacket because that was what was in vogue. I took them to school. I started selling. It became, nobody knew they were gele. I didn't even bother to tell anybody. And my sister said, the one she wore to school in ABU, everybody wanted. So that was how we turned it to business. So I said to myself, if I did it when I was in school, and I didn't need to collect pocket money at the point. So why won't I educate younger ones? Why you're waiting for NYC, you're waiting to get into the university because we all know it's difficult getting to the university. Why don't you start something? The only thing I feel bad that I did not do was to learn how to sew then. or maybe make hair. That would have been amazing for me. So those are the kind of things that I encourage, I do for children. I go to school, I encourage them. Then women, I go to IDP camp whenever I meet other women, teach them how to make. I learned how to make bag. I learned how to make a lot of things so that I can teach, not because I really want to make those things, you know, because I need to teach them. Even when I have to bring in experts, I have to do my own bits and all that. So that's what led to it. And
wow.
It is amazing. I sleep well. Like I tell people, I sleep well because I know I've touched one life. Every day I make sure I touch soul.
So your goal is to use your position to touch lives.
Exactly.
We're going to be talking about the more lives you have touched and how we can, as women, begin to change that mindset that while I'm working somewhere, I can't grow my business. And people look at it as that is an honest mindset, because, I mean, there'll be conflicts of interest.
Exactly.
But is it possible to be in a place and also find a way of establishing your own business? We'll talk about that after the break.
Okay.
All right, so if you're just joining us, it's Total Woman on AD4 TV Radio, and we're looking at encouraging and empowering young entrepreneurs to thrive in this in a society where everyone wants to go for the color job, but the color jobs are not available. I'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. All right, so welcome back. It's still Total Woman on AD4 TV Radio. And the question I asked my guest, Miss Biodun Buki Ogundipe, an entrepreneur and who is also taking time to nurture and raise other, especially young people, to become entrepreneurs and to grow their businesses. Now we were looking at, is it possible for me working in an organization to also grow my business or establish my business?
Yeah, it's possible, but a little difficult at the beginning, actually. Then another reason is having someone to support. I'll give this simple example of my dad. My dad was in the military, and of course, like I told you, his mom was very industrious and all that, so he wanted to do something else. Of course, as a military man, you're only allowed to farm. So he had a poultry. But of course, it wasn't really easy because he wasn't a regular military man that would just go to the office and come. He had an appointment, so he had to do a lot of things. But the luck he had was, at that point, of course, my mom, he has, let me not say he had, they're still married. So my mom has always been in business. Since shortly before she got married, she was working in UCA, then she left, and full businesswoman. So she knew how to do it very well. Like I told you, she's still a businessman till she's like 70-something, but she's not backing down. She's not like giving up on it. But she was very supportive of him. She was, okay, I will handle the business. She was watching over the business, not until he retired, then he took ownership of it. That's where the support, anyway, you need to have a support system to be able to do that. It's very possible. I couldn't do that because I didn't have the support system, someone that was going to. And it didn't occur to me it wasn't easy for me to set up a system. Because if you set up a system, because business is about system, most of these multinational companies, they are not in Nigeria, but they run the business very well. It's because they set up a system, structure and all that. That is what someone working now, I want to advise them to do. Get somebody you can trust. It could be family member, it could be friends, it could be somebody that you can just groom. Because you can never be there as much as you want, because of it, your job will suffer. And when your job suffers, you will see the result and you'll be out of the job. So while you build, before you make up your mind to leave this where you work, get to set the system, or get somebody that you can trust, or a consultant to set it up. That will
so at least start with registering your business name. Start with locating what you want to do, other than just waiting until when you retire before you begin to think of what business.
No, it doesn't even work. If you wait to retire, it doesn't work, because you can't start when you retire. There's this, like I tell people, there was a time I had the opportunity of talking to retirees. I said, what happened when you retire? There's always this shock. Whether they like, it's a psychological thing. It takes them to get over, am I out of the job? they want to spend, they want to do things they used to do. It's psychological, understand? So before you recover from all those your psychological things, time is gone. So it's better you start before you leave the system.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that. So let's look at support. You mentioned support system. You had your dad had a support system. And that sustained him for the period before taking over when he had the time. Now, for young entrepreneurs who want to go into business, they always say that money is a limiting, is the reason why they don't go into business, and they are not having access to money limits them a lot. Apart from finance, what other support do you think an entrepreneur will need, to grow their business?
Let me just take that. Sorry, let me say something about the money. You don't need to have money at times to start business. You can actually get an investor. You can have the idea, then you get an investor.
Okay, that's interesting. Break it down.
Like if I want to set up, I've done it before. I have because you could be, one thing about business I noticed, there are stages, there are different kind of group of entrepreneurs. Some people are incubators. Some people are very good at marketing. And that's why we have, like agri, let me take for example, a value chain. There are people who are good with farming. If you tell them to market their product, they can't. There are people who are good with production. Like me, I don't like the real farming, being the poultry bit and all that, but I like to market. I love to market. So if you tell me to go and start from the scratch, I can give you the idea, but I can't do that part of the farming. But I can jump to the part of packaging and marketing. So that's what we need to understand about entrepreneurs. So when, as a young entrepreneur, you need to learn about it first. What I tell people, sit down to learn. We don't learn, we just want to jump into business, it won't work. I took, even when I was working, I did a lot of online training for business. Apart from the one I had from my background, I had to do, even till today, I still do it. I just registered for one online. You can't be tired of learning because the system is changing. So as an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, if you don't have money, get investors. You have the idea, they get investors. I'll give you, I don't want to call him, but I'll give you a practical example. There was okay, you hear a lot about people pitching for this and that. That is the way to go. And I talk about, it's important to go into partnership too. Apart from just telling people to take over the business, you can go into partnership. You have a friend that's still working that job, because there are some people who love to work who can't do business. You have to be very realistic.
I agree.
I have when we were working, I looked at it because I was the branch manager. So I studied my staff. So I noticed one of them, she was good. She can, even the mail I can't interpret, she will interpret it. But she's not good with sales. So she doesn't even bother herself to stand on that stand. She will just face the system. But I knew she was good with that. Then there was one, she's from the eastern part of the country, excellently good with marketing. So what I did, when we share target, I don't bother to give her target. But I make sure she handles this, anything has to do with system. So we need to understand what we can do. It still comes down to understanding oneself, self-concept. You need to understand, where do I fit into? So that I don't be jumping from one place to another as an entrepreneur. You need to understand young entrepreneurs. So it boils down to learning, mentorship, and all that, which is very important. So just to say one straightforward answer to it might be difficult.
Okay, so your organization, what kind of support can you give any young entrepreneur, aspiring one watching right now?
Okay.
What advice, what support do you have that will help them?
Okay, like now, number one, you have to be under mentorship. We have to mentor you to be able to know where you fit into, what you can do, so that you don't get money and just waste the money. Two, we support them through, even through basically from that organization, the Awinsme, that's a Association of Women, we get access to funds, access to machineries we had partnership with a lot of organizations, Agri, International, and these are trade and industry and all that, and there are a lot of young people amongst us, you understand. So through that, I get funds to support people, because as an NGO, you know the way our program NGO runs, you might not, no bank would really want to support you for that, and all. No intervention, like government would not give intervention to do NGO, but you have to do the business part of it, and that's where it comes from. Like I said earlier, mentorship is very important, and I bring in the self-concept thing, because no matter how much money you give to somebody that does not have a healthy self-concept, the money will go down the drain.
Exactly.
Because one is going to be gullible. Two, the person is going to be fearful. You know, people come and harass them, collect money. The person will want to impress everybody and give money to anybody, not knowing that the business is going down. This money is supposed to be paid back. And so you have to, like, that's where the life empowerment comes. You have to, like, look at the person, not just entrepreneurship training, but you have to train the person how to be self-reliance, self-confidence, and be bold to be able to say no at this point. Because family will come in. You know, I want to impress, okay, my family, because I had a chat with my son this morning before I left. He was saying that somebody said, he was talking about somebody that became rich and made cake with money and all that, gave to the mother, and they were dancing. My son was like, what's the meaning of that? As in, to him, what's that? You understand? Just give her a good cake. What's the meaning of money? And I understood where that was coming from. They did it because they wanted to oppress some people around. If you have said, you don't need that. That should be another chapter. When you get money, that's another chapter you open, not try to impress or dragging people.
So instead of spending your money, you reinvest.
You reinvest it.
But you need to have that courage. To be able to do that. Have the understanding. To know that I grow my business. There are stages, you know, I must go through. And then whatever profits I make, it's under mentorship, you'll be taught how to reinvest, how to put back, and deprive yourself a lot of things until you're strong enough. Yeah, because a lot of young people these days, you find they make small money, they want to buy a car, they want to change their phones, you want to have some expensive life.
iPhone 12.
Our businesses can't grow from that perspective, except whatever you're acquiring is supporting you for that business.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Now, let me ask a question that people always talk about when we talk about gender or feminism.
Okay.
You know, you made a statement that you didn't have a support system. How do we get men involved so that they can be a support system for us, you know, to grow better? Because like you said, family, you may be making the money, and as a married one, the husband says, I need. You have to give.
Exactly.
So what will you say to men to position themselves in a way that they can be that support?
Good. I would advise them not to, it still comes back to this self-confidence, self-esteem thing. They should know that supporting their wife is supporting their family, supporting their children. But most men feel, if I support this woman, she's going to be richer than me, she's not going to respect me, and all that, which is, in most cases, is not true. And it depends on how you manage it. Anyway, you're a man, so you should know how to manage your wife and all that. But supporting her is the best thing. And I was looking, I was on, was it this morning or yesterday? I was in Facebook. I saw Williams, what's her name? The Chinese.
Serena Williams.
I was saying it's going to be she's going to be a millionaire, and they should stop looking at it from the wife's angle. But so far, he has done very well. He has been very supportive. And I think that's what men should do. I've never seen any interview that she talked him down. So, which is wonderful. And I think if men can be supportive, we have a better society. I mean, some few men that have supported their wife, because like I said about my family, my dad will talk about, he can never say anything without talking about my mom. I think men should learn from that. But it's going to be difficult because more men are becoming too gender sensitive these days. So I think the problem is we've so much empowered the women. I'm sorry to say this, even as I've always advocated for the women, I've started seeing a trend which, because I have a son, you understand, I've started seeing a trend which is not okay. And the men are getting very weak. So there's a problem. So they're getting very aggressive. So when he comes, he tells me some story, what his friend said, and I said, I noticed there's a problem somewhere. So I think we should balance it up because you can't, you can't start grooming an old man. You have to take it from, you know, the youth. Just talk to the youth and let's see how we change the narrative.
Wow, wow, thank you so much. Thank you. So on that note, we're going to be ending the program. But I want you to say one thing to a woman who says, you don't understand, I can't.
My sister, you can. There is nothing you cannot do. Anything a man can do, a woman can do better. So just go for it.
Thank you so much. Well, so in a country where we're saying there are no jobs, there's no jobs, you can create something. Start from wherever you are. And like my guest said, you may not know how to sell. You might just be an incubator, someone who can think. Look for a partner that will bring your thoughts to life and also put money in your pockets. That's the show for today. My name is Muti Olori. Join me next week for another edition of the program, Total Woman. God bless you.